Iron Lung. Originated as an indie game project by Sminsky, bless you. The description from Wikipedia follows. The player controls an unnamed convict who explores an ocean of blood on a desolate moon in a small rusty submarine named the Iron Lung. May 19th, 2022. YouTube's beloved Papa Marky Moo decides to get his little grubbies on playing, and give or take a few years, we're here. He's made a movie of it, fans love it, critics don't. The real question, do I like it? What I mean is it actually good? Do fans just love it because it's Mr. Marky Boo Boo Bear? Or are the critics just wrong, which they are a lot of the time? Let's go find out.
I need to have some for my video too. Ah! And this is just my opinion. I have a feeling the movie's gonna be very slow. One location, we're in the Iron Lung, and I can't imagine he had budget for like sets outside.
You know that we're not gonna ever see it.
I hope
Alright, we're now gonna act like it's in a completely different time and I didn't record this all at once and I'm wearing a different shirt now, absolutely. Time to answer the question I don't think anyone is asking. Is Iron Lung a good film? Yeah, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. If critiques, questions, concerns, all hand and feet in the vehicle, let's begin this ride. For starters, I almost didn't see the movie because my boyfriend forgot his ID, so the movie was quite graphic in order to require an ID. Disclaimer! This whole video is basically one big spoiler. This is a dissection of the film, not the video game. I know the premise is the video game, but Mark took a lot of creative liberties adding onto it, and I will literally just be discussing the movie in this. So, getting off with seeing our main character Simon, played by Mark, and the Iron Lung. We begin off with knowledge that one day something called the Quiet Rapture wiped out majority of the human population. There's a blood ocean that they don't believe anything lives in. Sure, that doesn't change. And Simon, a convict, is being given a chance of freedom if he goes under the blood ocean. I'm sure the government will uphold their word to a known criminal because it's still a person, right? Right? Mark Edward Fishbach, please unite with Matthew Patrick and save our country. Starting us right off the bat with one of the things I want to discuss, sets. Practically the entire movie takes place within the Iron Lung itself, making my claustrophobic self want to shrivel more than Epstein's balls when he sees 18+. Never moving outside of the Iron Lung, even through other characters we see. We see from Simon's perspective the whole time, looking through a small window. When being spoken to, blood dripping down the glass, which it's a pretty nice effect. The only time we get a scene change is in brief flashbacks. I think this serves well to instill claustrophobia in the viewer. Served very well, making us feel just as trapped as Simon. However, I feel like it could be pushed even further if we got to see Simon step inside of the Iron Lung. Got to feel the fresh air with him, then get it taken away. Never again. Or I wish it opened up with one of his flashbacks. Leading me to, I feel as though the flashbacks were a bit abrupt. We hadn't followed the formula of visions until quite a bit into the film, so it felt off to me. Just when I say that, I mean the formula of him getting flashbacks or him seeing things. It was really just exactly what he was experiencing as the movie was going on. But if it opened up with maybe as he's stepping into the Iron Lung, he's seeing himself as a kid staring at the tree or something along those lines, it would have felt more well-rounded in my opinion. However, I do get the goal of wanting us to feel trapped with him. I think this just would have been accentuated by it. I also get wanting the story to be revealed through dialogue and less flashbacks, leading on to my next point of discussion. Dialogue. I feel we could have explored the world more through the characters' words than we did. I get keeping things vague. I enjoyed the slow burn greatly, but quite a bit of the time through the movie is spent with Simon just going or sounding confused. Which confused me because when's the last time anyone's heard Markiplier say fuck? I feel like I passed out and all of a sudden he didn't curse that much anymore in his videos. but it still somehow felt like the least family-friendly thing I've ever seen in my life. But I'm almost convinced that's why the rating got me ID'd and I almost didn't see the film. So, and swearing and confusion benefits to a degree, but once the viewer understands the characters are angry and or confused, you find new ways to demonstrate that, where it starts to feel like you just don't really know what to make them say. So I feel some of the time should have been spent chatting with crew members through the radio, uncovering more story about Simon's history a little bit slower, or the history of the world. Not because we don't know it, but because I feel like it was explained in a bit of an odd pace. Simon was quite quickly outwardly angry about his past, not letting our curiosity build up for very long. So if they kept bringing it up and slowly was explaining it or alluding to it with his discomfort, then we would get his rage. And that's how we find out it wasn't his fault and his brother's fault, pinned on him, or that he believes it was pinned on him, is denying it, whatever it was. It would have felt more rewarding and would have fleshed out more of the dialogue instead of oh. Now my confusion in that last bit leads to another point I have. I feel the film is a little bit hard to follow. Now I like mind-screwing films, just jamming it right up the rectum, you know, and it does an incredibly good job at that. Like, one of my favorites is Donnie Darko, but I feel like it needed more straightforward narratives. The main point is that Simon is a convict. He's going under the blood ocean to find something for the people who sent him down. He gets stuck down there. Confused why I said to find something and not what it is? Well, it's because they don't know either. I wish they leaned into people having no idea what was going on either more, or they did and they told him it's none of his business, because Ava frequently not knowing makes it feel to me like they didn't know what to write her saying. They could lean into Ava's boss, giving her vague instructions and she won't tell Mark, or allude that she's lying about the fact that she doesn't know, more so to just the fact that he's the first one. There was a lot going on, but it felt in a little bit of a disorganized way, so it was a bit hard to follow, with Ava telling Simon what to do, Simon being a convict, but we don't know why, the creature in the iron lung, still don't know what that was, but that could just be a media literacy issue of me. The mystery of if Simon's the first one that went down, the quiet rapture, Simon's hallucinations mixed with reality, the blood ocean's a mystery in general, the mystery of the creatures in the blood ocean, and more I'm probably forgetting. Now, this could not just be a flaw of the movie, and I could just be really stupid to catch up with it all, and that could just be the flaw of the whole movie, is that I'm the flaw, but we'll see. No, we won't. I'm choosing to believe I'm not the problem. I feel like all of them are very smart ideas, and I quite like how they're portraying them, but I feel it was so mixed up with one another that it was kind of hard to see where one thing ended and another thing began. Leading to positives, because believe it or not, I do like this movie. Following the last thing, it does do something with that I quite like. It doesn't dumb down the audience, and that leads to it feeling very rewarding when you do figure things out. It also allows you to feel intrigued by the mysteries unfolding because you have to fill in the gaps and get to theorize along the way. Whereas a lot of movies nowadays will just like spoon feed it, and when you're already gathering what's going on, it's like, hey, did I mention what's happening? Did I tell you for a third time? Next positive point, color theory. The color theory is beautiful throughout the film. If you look at a color wheel, green is opposite to red. I don't know what the color wheel looks like from memory. Because green is opposite to red, they contrast each other. Throughout the film, green is beaming throughout Simon's face, which makes him stand out compared to the very immense amount of red holding the world record for most fake blood used on set. Which I know partly is because of the game, as the coordinates in the game are also green. However, they use the lighting very well. Next point, cinematography. The cinematography is stunning and unique, and the way they keep panning the camera sideways, there's probably a name for that, but which, I don't know. I'm not a professional, I just like this stuff. Don't come to me if you want actual intelligence. They keep it uncomfortably close to Simon's face, which makes it so much more unsettling feeling, so much smaller in general, even if the viewer's not realizing that it's a subconscious feeling, and I quite like that. Speaking of unsettling, remember when I said they didn't directly show anything? What the is that? This movie is so damn tense. I don't often get made uncomfortable and worried by films because as someone who loves writing, they're typically very predictable. Well, this one really isn't. It every point, Mark managed to have me positively clawing the movie theater's carpet with my toes out from stress. That monster made my soul ascend to a greater place, and I wish it stayed there because at least it would have been safe from whatever that was. The slow reveal and realization that the previous people who were sent down tried to drink the blood and it deformed them, and the heavy implications that the blood ocean is where everyone went, that it's their blood. I personally think some of the creatures in the ocean is what the blood did to the people who mutated. All of this is very horrifying to think about, so not only is the film scary visually, but it is a psychological nightmare. Now, for my combination of discussing how creepy it is, and our next topic being the world building, the use of the camera being the only way to see outside of the iron lung is very nerve-wracking and a fantastic way to use the environment. Transition! World building! The movie has fantastic use of the environment, building into it feeling real. I don't know if you've noticed this, but sometimes movies just don't use things in the scene, and it makes it feel like it's a scene, not like it's what's happening in reality. I don't want to be thinking about the fact that I'm watching a movie. I want to be immersed. I don't want to think about the fact that it's fake. I experience fake in my day-to-day life. I'm in a college age. The movie really uses its environment to immerse you and improve upon world building. For example, Simon digging through drawers, using the objects around the iron lung for their purpose, plus more, like the medical tape or the instruction manual. And God using that camera to provide the light, having it flash, that was incredibly uncomfortable, waiting for something to appear within the darkness. Cinema. Next point. The film does a very good job at Chekhov's gun, a narrative stating if you're making a film and you put an emphasis on a gun, the gun should be used later. You don't leave unnecessary detail unless it serves a purpose. I found the dialogue went in circles a bit, but the actions were very good at this. Everything felt full circle and like it belongs. The visual storytelling was excellent, seeing for example, Simon was dirty before he ever got in the gross, icky little iron lung, implying he was unkept outside as well. My favorite and least favorite parts. My two favorite aspects were us seeing physically through his perspective. The blurry lens of the camera, the dark shots, especially how they use the window seeing out. I really like that the camera is kept so close to him and that the surroundings are just as obscured to us as they are to him. It makes it just as terrifying as it is through his eyes. And complaints. I feel like my complaints can be really summarized to I think the dialogue needed a bit more, not less silence is okay, but more story, less filler when they're talking. And that what happens can be quite confusing, however, that could be remedied by rewatching or watching an explanation, or maybe I'm just stupid, who knows. So, all of this to say, yeah, it was a pretty good movie, I give it like a 7.5 out of 10.